Good evening and welcome to Slow It Down Sunday. I am your host, Arlene Connelly-Drummond, and I am so pleased that you have taken time for you today, that you have chosen to join me in this sacred space that we have been curating for ourselves, a space in which we prioritize our mental and emotional well-being. We take this opportunity to lean in, to check in with ourselves, to rejuvenate, to revive, to restore, to replenish, to reinvigorate our spirit, and to bring ourselves in a place of peace. We have used this time to declutter our minds and create an opportunity for us to experience more joy and more peace. This is what we are calling Slow It Down Sundays. Now, we don't just slow it down on Sundays. We choose anytime we can to slow it down. Why? Because in slowing down, we are truly giving ourselves the opportunity to move with a greater sense of purpose, with a greater sense of clarity, with greater sense of conviction, and with a greater sense of peace. So welcome to this space. I hope you're doing a little like me. You have found your sacred space. You're relaxing somewhere in your home or wherever you find that moment of peace. You have sipped on or sipping on your beverage. You have lit a candle, whatever it is you needed to do to support you in this space. You want to create this opportunity. You know, we talked about this is just not just for me, not just for you, but it may be an opportunity to invite your whole family, your loved one, to join you in this slowing down opportunity where we just are building habits that allows us to quiet some of the noise and create an opportunity to hear the still small voice that resonates in our spirit, that is speaking to us each and every day. But we are sometimes so consumed with the outside chatter, with the outside noise that is going on, with the busyness of life, that we miss sometimes the messages in the moments. And so today, I am so happy to be with you to slow down. It's been a doozy of a week. And yesterday I took an opportunity, it was so great, spent some time with my husband, and we enjoyed one of my favorite places that I love to be when I need to just replenish and to recenter myself, anywhere with water, but especially the beach. And so just had that great opportunity to pause yesterday. So I took a slow it down time yesterday, and it felt really good. So I'm hoping that you are creating multiple opportunities to change the pace of your movement and not just waiting for this time on Sunday. That this is a good sacred time that we are together, and I love it, but I'm hoping that you're also identifying other times throughout your week, throughout your days, where you are just taking it down several notches. If you're busy like me, that means that we need to truly recalibrate and slow down. So in preparation for today, I'll tell you what I've been doing. So you know, it's springtime, so we're in the spring season, and I have so much stuff. I have lots of stuff. And I'm in this process of trying my best to declutter, release some things. And that idea of what we call spring cleaning is something that I wanted to kind of lean in with you today and talk about creating space, letting go so that things can grow and there can be a greater flow in our lives. And so I don't know about you, but you ever try to, let's say, carry a bunch of bags in your hand? And you can add a lot of bags in your hand until you have no capacity or room to add anything else. Many of us are carrying too much that now there is no space for anything new to come in. We are heavy, overweight. You know, when you go to the airport and you go to check your luggage, and there's a certain weight limit for your luggage, and you find out that your luggage is overweight, and they say what? You have to remove some items, right? Or you have to pay the price. You have to pay the price of what? Being overweight. So I want us to lean in on what it can mean for us if we release some things, if we cleared some of the clutter, if we did it not just on our physical space. So we have our physical space that we need to clear and make room. We have our emotional space that we want to clear and make room, right? And we have our mental space, right? We want to clear and make room. We want to make space for newness to bloom, for the seeds of the things that we've been curating to have room to grow. So today I just wanted to ask you, are there things that you're holding on to, that you've added to your pocketbook, to your luggage, to your physical space, to your mental space? Are there things that you are thinking about, that you find yourself not even enough room to hear anything fresh and new because your mind and your thoughts are so consumed? I know sometimes I struggle with that. Sometimes I can find myself consumed with multiple thoughts, commitments, things that I have to get done, to the point that I can't slow my mind down. And I struggle to slow it down mentally so that I can do some clearing out of some things. And so we've talked about that. We talked about that last week. We talked about protecting our peace, right? And so when we take time to declutter our mental house, our mental space, so that we can have room for greater clarity, to allow the flow of thoughts and information and ideas and creativity to flow with greater sense of ease. That's how we want. And so in this season, in this springtime, I want to just invite each and every one of you to think about or try to release some things that you may find are no longer really serving you. They may be thoughts, they may be ideas, they may be past expectations, they may be challenges or disappointments, they may be things that were just distressing or uncomfortable at a certain time in your life. But it's been time, but you are still carrying it around today. I just want to invite you to release those things, to release them so that you can make room for something new, for something refreshing, for fresh, for the seeds of the things that you've been thinking about, planning for, dreaming about, to come to life, to bloom, right? Let's unpack some things. Let's declutter our minds, right? How about our emotional space? Are there emotions that you're holding on to? Are there experiences, people who have hurt you? There have been, again, some disappointments, some setbacks, some really levels of unforgiveness, anger, hostility towards a situation, towards a person? Are we holding on to and weighing down and carrying emotional baggage that is weighing us down and clogging up our arteries and our capacity of our heart to feel greater sense of love, greater sense of joy and caring and deep connections with people? Are we carrying around too much emotional pain and baggage and unforgiveness? If that is you, if you find yourself recognizing that you have emotional scars and thoughts and ideas that are just weighing and clogging up your emotional space, I'm going to invite you again. Cleanse, release, clutter, clear it out. Decompress from those things. Consider what life could be like if you made room for fresh new memories, if you made room for new friendships, new relationships, if you made room by releasing anger, releasing bitterness, and creating space for forgiveness, if you made room in your heart to allow love, to allow life to breathe a new freshness into you, to revive you and give you a greater sense of vigor because your heart is open with joy and love. And when people see you, they see a light and they see an energy that's just radiating from you because what? You are the conduit. You are the carrier of love and of joy and of life. And you're not clogged. You're not clogged. You're flowing with a great sense of ease. And you have more joy and more love and more laughter and more peace to share with others because you have spent time clearing out your emotional baggage, clearing out your emotional reservoir of experiences that come with this thing called living. It's part of the journey. As we live, we are emotional creatures. And so having emotional experiences is part of what makes us human. How we deal with those emotions, how we process them, what we choose to carry forward, and I'm going to invite you in what we choose to release. Release, so you have more room to embrace and contain a fresh, new sense of love and joy and happiness and peace. Let's consider doing that. Let's consider what it would be like if our hearts were not so heavy, if our minds were a little bit clearer, right? What that can look and feel like. I love it, right? So we have our mental clearing, right? So we can allow things to flow. Our emotional clearing, right? So that we can create space for more love and more light and more life, right? So how about if we also take care of our physical space? So I spent some time doing that. And many of us, when we think about spring and we hear spring cleaning, we usually think that we're going to dust some things off. We're going to, wash all the curtains. We're going to, really do a deep clean in our homes to ensure that our space have a lighter, fresh feeling, so we can get rid of the essence of winter and bring a fresh new energy into our space. And many of us, we carry a lot of stuff. I know I'm one of them. And we have, if we think about those of us who are in the in places where we have a heavy winter, right? You may find that your coats and sweaters and all those things, they take up room and they take up space. Well, maybe time to, get them into that, suction bag and compress them and move that out of your space, right? And allow a freshness. What do we need to release in our space that we're holding on to that may no longer serve us, right? It may be some clothes. I was organizing the closet and, there's some clothes that it doesn't fit anymore. And while I would love them to fit, well, right now they're not fitting. So I need to either pack them away, box them away, or get rid of them because they're no longer serving me, right? So I want you to think about what's in your life right now that you are allowing to occupy space, and it is clogging, it is compromising your ability to move with ease, it is impacting your sense of peace because you have a lot of disorganization, you have a lot of clutter, there's just a lot of stuff, right? What could that be feeling like? I know for me, when there's too much stuff, because it feels like you're being like you're suffocating, like you're choking, and you want to just, wish it all away. So I'm really looking at how you can, how we can clear, declutter, create space, create room for new life, new energy, for more abundance, for more. I want some things new. There are things that I hold on to because I cherish them. They are of great value, of great importance, right? They serve a purpose because they are a sacred memory. But there are other things that are just taking up space. What's taking up space in your life that you want to or need to release? What's in your life that's no longer serving you? I'm inviting you to create space so that your life can have a greater sense of flow, so that your dreams and your aspirations can grow, that you can have greater space to invite life and energy into your life. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that sense of energy, that I want more space so that I can move with a greater sense of peace. So I wanted to give you a couple of things that consider us releasing as we declutter, right? Some common things that we hold on to that we need to and should consider releasing. Some emotional baggages, right? Sense of guilt and fear and shame. Are you holding on to some of those? I'm inviting you to release them. Old goals that are no longer fit. There may be some goals and things you wanted to accomplish, and to date they didn't happen, and you have already moved on and you're doing something different, but you're keeping and you're holding on to that disappointment of something that you didn't get to execute. Well, either you're going to repackage it, repurpose it, and find a sense to use it, or I would say release it and create space, because there may be a fresh new idea or new perspective that is just waiting to be unleashed, but it cannot because it's clogged in the pathway of your mind. So consider that. How about overcommitting and people pleasing? Have you found yourself where you are overcommitting your schedule, your life, having too many things and priorities on your tasks because of your desire to people please? Okay? You don't want to disappoint people. And then you find yourself disappointing you because you don't have any more room to care for you, to meet your needs, because you have overcommitted. You are trying too much to please others at the expense of your own well-being, at the expense of your own joy and your own happiness. We're not doing that in this season, right? We're not overcommitting and we're not people-pleasing. How about, I talked about this already, any space that's, disorganized, chaos, right? Let's get those things in order, right? It could be disorganized and chaotic, but for so long. It's time for us to put some order back into our lives. And some of us, we have the idea that more is better. The more things we have, the better things are. There is something to be said for minimal. Less luggage. I want to learn to pack and not have so much luggage that my journey through the airport is like this weighted experience. and it's not joyful, it's not pleasant. I want to be able to get to the place where I pack just what I need, less, so that I can have more room for wherever my destination is, that I have room to receive anything new, right? So we want to let some things go. And, letting go is a spiritual practice. And I believe that there's something greater on the other side of release. When I let some things go, there's room for more to come, right? And I want to give myself permission to evolve, to grow, to allow myself space for my new development, for the things that I'm learning. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. I'm not the same person I was last Sunday when we had this moment together. I've had a week of encounters and experiences and breakthroughs and awareness and connections with people and conversations. All of those things stretch me and allow me to grow and flow. And so, I'm giving myself permission to evolve. So, if we can believe and understand that when we let go, it doesn't mean we're giving up. It means we're creating room and we're choosing alignment. When we let go and we release some things, we're not being careless. We're being more curating. We're being more conscious. We're being more careful in what we allow to be in our space. When we let go, we're not saying, I'm letting this go because I don't want to think about it. I don't want to process it. I'm avoiding it. That's not what we're doing. When we release some things, we are giving ourselves clarity because it's a conscious decision when I let something go, when I release some things, when I unpack some things. So I really want you to consider allowing yourselves to release and declutter some things so that you can have a greater sense of alignment, a greater sense of clarity, and you can invite the flow of life to move with a greater sense of fluidity, right? In the our scripture is anchor is be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know, Psalms 46:10. That is such an important scripture verse. Be still and know. There's something that happens when we release, that there's stillness. When we finally release, we're allowing some things to flow. So, as we step into this week, I'm going to give you some tasks, some assignments, things to consider. Would you consider some practical ways that you can step into this week and allow your flow to allow space for things to grow in this new season, in this springtime. Can you consider your internal space and start each day with 5 minutes of silence or stillness? Can you try that? Just for 5 minutes, maybe as you start your day, maybe in the middle of your day, maybe at the end of your day. But identify space and time where you are quiet and you are still. Just try it. And I want you to be able to share what that experience of stillness was like for you, right? Then our mental space. Declutter your to-do list. We've talked about this several times during our Slow It Down Sunday. Many of us, our to-do list is just crammed with obligations and commitments, all those things that we say yes to that no longer serves us or drains us. I'm going to invite you this week. Can you try only setting 3 priorities this week, 3 layers of focus this week, 3 goals you're trying to accomplish, and not an overweighted schedule, right? What are the 3 focus areas? Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have commitments and obligations that I have to be responsive to, but do I really have to? Sometimes we think there are things we have made a priority, but are they? Are they really? Should they be a priority? That's the question. Should it be a priority? Do that little introspection and ask yourself, is this thing that I'm about to do, is this task, is this commitment, is this an appointment, is this meeting, is this event, is this something that is important for me at this time, at this season in my life? Ask yourself those things. Then I want us to consider finding a small space in your home, in your office. It could even be in your car. A place in which you are that there's a lot of clutter, there's a lot of junk, and the opportunity for you to organize and create cleanliness and allow your space to be clear, right? Can you consider that? You may have been neglecting some things in your physical space that warrants your attention. Consider this week clearing just a little. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't take on a big task like reorganizing your whole closet, right? Don't take on big tasks. Take small tasks, small things that won't overwhelm you and won't overburden you, but just that small task of cleaning out the glove compartment in the car, or fixing the shoes in your closet, or organizing one cabinet. Something simple. Don't go overboard. Let's do some emotional space clarity and clearing this week. Is there someone in your life that it warrants you to practice the art of forgiveness, to allow yourself to release the weight of that anger and that disappointment and that resentment to someone, so that you can create space for forgiveness? And it may not just be to someone. It may be a forgiveness that you need to give to yourself. There may have been something that you've done or something that you were disappointed in, a commitment that you made to yourself, a goal or a dream that you have not allowed to materialize, and you are upset, you're disappointed by the actions you've taken, and now that sense of bitterness and anger and resentment to yourself is making you feel a sense of guilt and frustration. I'm inviting you this week, release it. Release it and allow yourself the space to dream again, to plan again, to strategize again, to put something new in motion. Consider what it could be like if you let it go. Let it go so that there could be a greater sense of flow. And the other space that we want to allow greater sense of flow to happen is in our energy. Friends, when we are depleted in our energy because we are carrying too much weight, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we are drowning, we are heavy, we are unsettled, when we are doing that to ourselves, it is impacting the energy. Energy flows, but energy can be clogged and distorted by how we are showing up in life, by how we are allowing life circumstances, life situations to weigh us down, right? To make us feel heavy, to have us in a space of anger and resentment and disappointment and being unsettled, right? That's not a good place. And that energy, when we're not feeling good about ourselves, when we're not feeling good about our lives, when we are allowing negative thoughts and ideas to flood our space, it impacts our energy. And I'm just encouraging all of us to, I want more joy. I want more laughter. I want more peace. I want the pleasant, healthy energy that you bring into every space you go to be an energy that is inviting, that is uplifting, that is encouraging, that is energizing, right? So that there people can know that there is a light and a life force that's flowing through you, because your energy, when you show up in the room, you bring life to the space. You're not considered an energy drainer, but you're an energy multiplier, right? That's what you want to be. You want to be that person that steps into the space and your energy is felt in the room because you're bringing that joy and that light. You know what it's like when you're around people who are energy depleters. You don't want to be one of those. I don't want to be one of those. So I need to, you need to, we need to make sure we are checking in with ourselves so that we can be in a greater sense of peace and spiritual cleanliness, that our light can so shine in everywhere we go. So as we close out this week, I want to give you a couple of things. What am I always telling you to do? Slow down. Slow down so that you can catch up. Slowing down is really important to bring things back into alignment. Simplify. I got a great piece of advice from a dear friend when I was trying to do a big conference and event, and I've held on to this message she gave me. Bernadette Claiborne, thank you for that word you gave me when you said, Arlene, simplify and execute. And I have taken that message with me because I can be extra. My daughter tells me all the time, Mommy, you could be extra. And I've learned that sometimes I need to simplify so I can execute, so I can move to my next. I'm going to invite you to do that. I'm inviting you to let go. Let go so that flow can happen, so you can make room for the abundance, for the blessings, for all that God has in store for you to be creative, for your energy to flow, for your life to feel fulfilled, I'm inviting you all to take some time to release so that your flow can go, so that you can grow and blossom into all that you are becoming each and every day. Slow it down. This is Arlene Connelly-Drummond, and I am so glad that I had the opportunity to spend time with you today for Slow It Down Sunday. Let's make sure that we take time this week to release so that we can flow, we can allow space for us to grow, and we can show up in our lives with a greater capacity to receive all that is before us and to bloom and blossom into all that we are becoming. See you next Sunday on Slow It Down Sunday.